we're going to legal controls over employment. When we talk about legal controls over employment, basically we're talking about government laws that protect employers, that protect employees and even employers too. So government laws that guide the relationship between employers and employees. Government laws that guide the relationship between employers and employees. So it guides and it checks and balances the relationship between employers and employee. That is what it means. So legal controls over employee, are you there? Over employment. Government often pass legislation to protect people at work. Without such protection, some businesses would exploit their workers. They might pay low wages, make them work long hours, deny them employment rights, expose them to danger, discriminate against certain groups, or dismiss them unfairly. This chapter looks at the legal protection against different types of discrimination in the workplace and the impact that such legislation might have on businesses. So government comes up with this law. Government passed these laws so that employees will not be exploited. Employees will not be kicked out unfairly or sacked unfairly. Employees will be protected in terms of health and safety. Health and safety of employees will be paramount to employers, and they won't be denied the rights, their rights in terms of employment rights. So that's why government comes up with these employment legislation or laws so that employees will be protected. So what are those type of laws we're talking about? So what are equal opportunities? So when we talk about equal opportunities, basically we're talking about you having the same right as I. So there's nothing different between you and I. There's no discrimination between both of us. We are both employees and we have equal rights. That is equal opportunity. So what you have access to, whatever you have access to, I have access to it too. That is equal rights. So let's read, or equal opportunity. Businesses have to make a choice when recruiting staff or selecting employees for promoting or training. Choosing one person rather than another based on characteristics is known as discrimination. So discrimination is not bad in as much as it is merited. But when it is not merited, when you start thinking about race, when you start thinking about religion, when you start thinking about age, when you start thinking about gender, then it becomes illegal discrimination. So you have to discriminate. When you have to choose one over another, you have to discriminate. But that is positive. It is negative when you start choosing someone based on gender, based on religion. This becomes what is not good for the business. So, however, it is illegal in most countries to discriminate. Okay, so if a business chooses a person because they are more skilled and better qualified than another, these grounds of gender, race, this would be legal. So, like I said, it is legal when I choose you because you have skills more than the second person, or when I choose you because you have more intellect than the other. That is normal. But when I start choosing you based on what we just talked about, it is illegal. That is the point. So we start with gender. Gender discrimination. So we're talking about when you choose an individual based on either is a male or female. So you prefer to choose a male than a female. That is discrimination, which is illegal. Gender discrimination, it is illegal. Do you understand gender discrimination there? So in many countries, laws have been passed to help deal with the problem of gender discrimination. They said in UK, they are, okay, so look at here. How can we call it gender discrimination? Advertisements for jobs must not specify a particular gender. So a business is not allowed to target job adverts to either a man or a woman. Both genders must have equal opportunity in appointment. So if you are making an advertisement and you use, oh, female are wanted or male are wanted, then it is gender discrimination. Clear? You must not make references to work titles in job adverts. In job adverts, references to work titles in job adverts must be genderless. For example, a title must be police officer, not a salesperson, or a salesperson, not policeman or policewoman. Police officer, salesperson, not salesman, saleswoman, isn't it? It is a gender discrimination. Promotion must not be made on the basis of gender, and people cannot be dismissed because they are male or female. You should not dismiss people based on being based on male or female. If you are dismissing an employee, it would have been based on the ground that that individual did not do the right thing, does not respect the contract in employment.
Yes.
Do you get it? Wages must be paid based on what you do, not based on either a man or a female or a woman. Do you get it? Businesses will have to take more care when designing internal documents, such as the person specification or job description. This is to ensure that jobs do not limit applicants from a particular gender. So you must not limit task of employees to either male or female, it is gender discrimination. Is it clear? So that is gender discrimination. Any question about gender discrimination? No, we'll move on. We go to discrimination with race and religion. Places must ensure that they do not discriminate on grounds of color, race, ethnic origin, religion, or nationality. However, some evidence suggests that this does happen. So we must not, as employers, we must not give jobs, promotion, based on, oh, he's a Nigerian, let me give him a job. Oh, he's a South African, let me give him a job. Oh, he's a country from this, he's from country X. We can't give him a job or her a job. That is discrimination. Everybody should have equal opportunity. So this is some examples of the effects of race legislation on business may include the following. One, business cannot prevent employees from wearing ethnic or religious dress, such as Sikhs wearing turbans or Muslim wearing in the burqa. So you must not stop people from wearing whatever they like to work. Two, the use of selection tests must be monitored to ensure that their style not discriminate against people from minority background. So when you are giving a test, ensure that it's cut across everything. Don't just give questions regarding the don't give questions based on the majority. Also think about the minority. So think about the information of the minority when you are giving questions. So don't just focus on the majority. Three, business must take into account the religions, holidays of ethnic groups. So you have to put into consideration holiday religions, like Fridays and Sundays. You have to put into consideration when you're giving jobs. Business cannot refuse to employ people from particular ethnic or religious group. You must not say, oh, we can't employ you because you are from that area. You shouldn't do that. It is discrimination, illegal. Workers must receive awareness training to encourage quality of treatment and prevent racial harassment. So you must train your workers regarding these things. You must train them towards understanding the problem that will arise if there is racial discrimination, there is ethnic discrimination, religious discrimination at workplace. You must train them so that they understand why it is important not to discriminate. Is it clear? So we go to disability. Are you there? For disability, protection in the workplace exists in many countries for people with disability. So unemployment rates of people with disability around the world tend to be higher than those without disabilities. So you must not stop a job based on person's disability. That means, oh, you're not giving that job because the person doesn't have, or maybe he's disabled. So disability means maybe handicap. So in as much as the person has the skill, the intellect to carry out the job, you should give the job to him or her. So don't stop a job. Don't deny someone an employment opportunity on the ground of disability if he or she has the ability in terms of mental to do the job. And if the job involves only mental, not physical, then you should give the job to the person. Do you get the point here? So now, what are those laws that government have put in place to ensure that people with disability have opportunity? One, improve access to the workplace by widening doors and providing ramps for wheelchair. So offices should provide wheelchairs for those that are disabled, but have the mental skill to do the mental ability to do the job. Give them space, open space so that they can work. Two, allow disabled workers time to attend medical appointments such as physiotherapy sessions. So allow them to go for medical checkups or medical therapy if it's going to help get them keep going. So allow them. Three, alter equipment such as telephones and computers, software and hardware to accommodate those with sight or hearing difficulties. Try to find technology there's advancement in technology, there's improvement in technology. So with the improvement in technology, there are equipments that workers that have problems with their eyes or that can't hear can use to help them do their job. So provide it for them instead of denying them employment opportunity. Allow more time for training. Also allow them to be trained, because if they are trained, then they will be able to carry out the job. That is about disability. Is it clear? Any question about that? So go to gender preference. For gender preferences, so discrimination against people on grounds of their gender preference is illegal in some countries. Are you there? I call it gender. I don't want to use the word here. Gender. So this discrimination against gender on grounds of their gender preferences is illegal in some countries. This is because laws have been passed to protect their rights. So you must not base your employment on gender, race. You must not. Whatever the individual believes on, take it with him or her, in as much as he's carrying out your job. He's doing the job, he's respecting the employment contract. Then the rest is not your business, it's personal. So let it be personal. Clear? Then we'll go to age. For age, it said the example is in getting started above, okay, was about age discrimination. Age discrimination in the workplace occurs when the person's decision is made on the grounds of person's age. For example, a person age 32 is given promotion because another person age 66 was considered too old. So you must not base the employment or promotion on the ground of being too old or being too small. In as much as a person qualifies, he has the ability, capacity to do it, get it, give it to them or give it to them. Don't base it on age. So examples of the possible effects on businesses of such legislation are given below. One, it will be illegal to offer a job to someone on the ground of age. It is illegal when you don't give a job to someone who is fit, who is capable, who is qualified for the job, or you think he's too young or too old for the job. It's illegal. Businesses should take measures to prevent older workers from being harassed in the workplace. For the older workers, they have experience. You don't just ignore them. Don't let younger ones harass them. Don't let younger ones disrespect them. Clear?
Yes.
Clear, please.
Yes.
The third one, businesses cannot refuse promotion or training on the grounds of age. You must not stop an individual from being trained because of too young or too old. In interviews, assumption cannot be made about the ages of candidates or their suitability for a job on grounds of age. So when you are interviewing someone, you don't need to talk about the age. Give him or her the job in as much as it's qualified for the job. Clear?
Yes.
A business cannot state that a specific number of years experience is needed to apply for a job. This might disadvantage younger applicants. So you must not saying that, oh, 5 years experience is needed or is required. This it becomes a disadvantage for those that are young. They won't be able to do the job. They won't be able to get the opportunity because they don't have that experience. Do you get it? Any question about that? Finally, it is in the interest of businesses to follow laws designed to prevent discrimination in the workplace. If they fail to do so, businesses may, one, be involved in expensive legal battles. That means they have to face laws, court proceedings every now and then. Two, fail to recruit or promote the best staff for the post. So because you are discriminating, you might not be able to employ or promote the most qualified worker to the position because he's too young or too old. Three, demotivate certain sections of the workforce. These demotivate workers. They know that they might be putting effort, but because they are too old or too young, they will not put effort. Maybe they're not going to get promoted. Lastly, create unnecessary tensions or conflict between employees. When you are discriminating based on gender, age, religion, ethnicity, this will bring conflict, disagreement between people. Oh, they don't like me because of this religion. Oh, they don't like me because I'm a woman. They don't like me because I'm a man. So this brings conflict among workers too, and it will reduce productivity. Any question about that? So that's all about discrimination. So we'll go to minimum wage laws after now. So we'll go to minimum wage laws. Are you there? So when we talk about minimum wage, it is government that sets these wages. What it means is that no employer is allowed to pay less than what is being set by government. So that means you must not pay any of your employee less than what the government says you should pay. That is what we call minimum wage. Is it clear? Okay. So they said generally, owners are free to set levels of pay in their businesses. However, in some countries, government have introduced a legal minimum wage. This involves passing legislation that means no employer is allowed to pay their workers an hourly rate below the limit set. So you cannot pay your workers below that rate that is being set. Do you get it? So employers face a penalty if they pay wages. That's the last paragraph now. Employers face a penalty if they pay wages that are lower than the national minimum wage. Also, workers will be entitled to have arrears of wages we pay at current rates. So there are three main reasons why government set legal minimum wage. So if you are paying your employees below the minimum wage rate, if government gets to be aware of that, those arrears, you will pay them. The ones that the difference that you've not paid, and no matter how long it was, you have to pay them. Do you get it? Because it is legal not to follow government directives. Do you get the point there? So what are the reasons why government sets legal minimum wage? Number one, to benefit disadvantaged workers. So it is argued that people such as women, ethnic minorities, and low-income families benefit from minimum wages, for example. So before we go into the example is not matter here, but understand what they are saying here. There are some people that are disadvantaged in the society. They are disadvantaged because they don't have equal opportunities. Like people from minority group, minority ethnic society, they are low income earners. As a result of that, they cannot get certain wage. So with government setting the minimum wage, it means you cannot pay them below that government has set. So you won't be able to discriminate them. You won't be able to pay them less. They are supposed to get less without government legislation. But because there's government legislation, they are not going to get less. So government sets minimum wage so that those that are disadvantaged in the society have benefits. Do you get the point? So because you are coming from a minority group, they want to pay you less. They won't be able to pay you less because government has set the limit they could pay. Do you get the first point? The second one, to reduce poverty. If government sets minimum wage, it means people's level of income would increase as a result of that. So you won't be able to just pay them what you want to pay them. You pay them based on government directives. So that would increase the level of income. And if it increases the level of income, people will be able to spend more. And that means poverty would reduce because they have the ability to buy now. The inability to buy food, clothing, shelter, this is poverty, the inability to afford these things. But with government minimum wage, you might be able to afford it. That reduces poverty, at least to relative poverty. Is it clear? To help businesses, a minimum wage should promote greater equality and fairness among workers. As a result, workers will be well motivated. This should reduce staff turnover and absence and raise productivity. So government also increases minimum wage to help the businesses, because if minimum wage is increased, workers get more pay, right? Yeah. And this increases their motivation. They become happy. They want to do more. They won't be upset at work. And if they are motivated, productivity will increase, which is good for the business. Yes. Do you get it? So these are the three reasons why government would bring about minimum wage. Any question about that? So what are the effects of minimum wage laws on businesses? What are the consequences? If a business employs very large numbers of people on wages that are below the minimum wage, clearly their wage bill will rise if a minimum wage is introduced. Also, most government increases the minimum wage every year. Therefore, business employing people on the minimum wage will have to match this increase. Some people argue that the introduction of minimum wage will result in job losses. In theory, if the price of labor rises, demand for it will fall. However, in 2016, so before we go further, if minimum wage increases in the society, that means firms will pay more to their workers, and that increases their cost of production. Yes or no? So if this happens, businesses, if they feel that they cannot transfer that increase in cost to workers, to customers, they will have to reduce the numbers of workers they have. So that means unemployment will increase in the society. Do you get the point? Do you get the point, please? So for the effects of minimum wage laws on businesses, if government increases minimum wage and firms or employers have employed a lot of workers, that increases the amount of money they have to pay to their employees, and which means they have to pay more, and it increases their cost of production. And if this happens, if there's increase in cost of production, and they are unable to transfer that increasing cost to customers who will pay higher prices for their products, then they have to reduce the numbers of workers. Unemployment might increase in the economy as a result of that. Do you get it? Yeah. So then it is also suggested that higher wages encourage businesses to replace labor with capital and outsource production to countries where labor is cheaper. So another thing businesses might do is to start using equipment instead of labor. So if they are labor intensive, they start becoming capital intensive. So they are encouraged to start using equipment rather than using workers, because the wage rate has increased. So the amount paid on workers, the cost of labor has increased as a result of that. So they start thinking about using equipment, capital goods, capital. Do you get it? Also, they might start thinking of taking their business off from that country to a country that has cheap labor in terms of wages. Do you get it? So countries might start losing their countries might start losing businesses, especially multinationals, based on the fact that the wage rate has increased in that country. They start looking for countries with cheaper cheaper rate of labor.
Yes.
Do you understand? Do you think wages is less in Libya?
Not wage. Taxation.
Taxation, yes, taxation is less here, but we're not talking about taxation. We're talking about minimum wage. If minimum wage is increasing here, businesses here would witness increase in their cost of production. So they might start leaving the country to countries that their minimum wage is lesser than this country. And if minimum wage is less here, companies might start coming here to start up their business here because the cost of production in terms of wages would reduce for them. Do you get it? However, there are also benefits of minimum wages to businesses. One, people on low pay may be better motivated and more productive when they receive a pay rise resulting from the introduction of minimum wage. There's also benefits. One of the benefits is that those workers that have low wages, because of the introduction of minimum wage, which increases their wages, they might become motivated and do more. Productivity will increase. Do you get it?
Yes.
Two, low wage earners across the nation will have more disposable income, so demand for many goods and services will rise. This will help drive up sales and profits for some businesses. Now that minimum wage has increased, it means disposable income will increase for individuals, so they can buy more now.
Yes.
So if they can buy more, that means businesses will sell more. Revenue will increase for businesses. At the same time, profit might increase. So it is a win-win situation. Employees will win, employers will win, because people will be able to buy more of their products. And the last one, businesses may experience lower rates of staff absence and better reliability. This might be because low-paid workers who often have to have more than one job to survive will be more committed to a single employer. So with increase in minimum wage, employers would have more committed workforce, will have more committed employees. You know, some people have two jobs. They have two jobs because they cannot survive with just one. But if minimum wage increases, they might be able to stay with one employer instead of two or more employers. And that would mean that they will have loyalty. They will be loyal to the employer instead of having different employers. Do you understand? Which is also good for the business. So any question about minimum wage now? Minimum wage is a win-win situation. If minimum wage increases, it increases the cost of production, yes, but it also makes employees to do more, which means productivity will increase. It makes employees to buy more from other businesses too, which means more businesses will also sell. Do you understand? So that ends legal controls over employment. So we have the multiple choice question. Question one, which of the following is a possible benefit to a business of the introduction of a minimum wage? If there's introduction of a minimum wage, what is the benefit to a business?
A is not the answer.
C, great. There will be less administration. No, the worker motivation might improve since workers will be better paid. Yes, it's C, correct. Question two. According to the graph in figure 19.1, which of the following ethnic minorities suffer the highest level of unemployment in the UK? 19.1.
Really?
19.1, it will be up, I think. Yeah, that's it. 19.1, yes. Suffers unemployment. Bangladesh. 13%. You see?
Yes.
13%.
13.
Is Bangladesh there?
Pakistan.
No. Let me see it. Hold on, please. Let me just have it here. It said, according to the graph in figure 19.1, which is this. So it said, let me see, which of the following ethnic minorities, okay, minorities, which of the ethnic minorities suffer the highest level of unemployment in the UK? Ethnic minorities. So we need to look at the case study. They said, okay. Oh, ethnic minorities. We have the Black, African, and Caribbean ethnic. They are the minorities. Pakistani. You need to check. So, however, some evidence suggests, okay, let's go. Okay, yeah, let's see. Black, African, Caribbean, they have 10% unemployment.
Pakistan.
Mixed. The Bangladesh is having 13%. But Bangladesh is not, it's not minority. They're not minority. The minority groups we have here, these are minority groups. Pakistan are not minority groups still.
So big.
Wait, we need to. What? It said clearly ethnic groups suffer high levels of employment than whites. Government around the world was okay. Okay. Black African Chinese. Ethnic minority group that suffers the highest unemployment. The highest unemployment is this. 13. But Bangladesh people are more than the others in the UK. So we wouldn't say this. We have the Black African Caribbean. Is the Black African Caribbean?
Big.
Yeah, it's the Black African Caribbean. It's the Black African Caribbean because here you combine all these together. They are the ethnic minority. These ones, they are not ethnic. They are not minority. Black African Caribbean, they are small. That's why you combine them together. Do you understand? So the answer is B. Is it clear?
Yes.
Question 3. Which of the following is a motive for the introduction of minimum wage? It's a motive for the introduction of the minimum wage. Why did government bring about minimum wage?
Hey.
Reduce poverty. Great. Question 4. In a job advert, a business states that applicant must have at least 10 years work experience. This is an example of discrimination on the grounds of which characteristics?
C.
No.
No, I.
B.
B.
10 years experience.
Age.
It's age. Is it clear? So that ends chapter 19. So we have the exam practice question. Now start it, please.